Hi there. Today we're going to talk about subplots and how to use them. Subplots are really interesting because they can be used in numerous ways. A subplot can be used to illuminate character. Say that the main plot has to do with a homicide detective solving a murder. And perhaps the subplot is that same homicide detective falling in love. Well, that subplot illuminates parts of the character of that main homicide detective that wouldn't ordinarily be accessible in the body of the plot. So it helps us, and maybe it also creates a little bit of worry on our part, because maybe as he falls in love, he becomes less likely to want to put himself at risk or in harm's way the way he would have otherwise. So a subplot can be used to illuminate character. The second way to use a subplot is that a subplot can illuminate plot. Let's take that same homicide detective who's fallen in love. Maybe in the course of his falling in love, there's a moment where his beloved says something that's an aha moment that helps illuminate something that he hadn't seen before in the homicide. Suddenly the homicide or how to solve it becomes far more clear. That's how to use a subplot to illuminate plot. The third way to use a subplot is that a subplot can actually mirror the main plot. Let's take this time a businessman who suddenly is taken hostage by a terrorist. And so that's the main plot. What's going to happen? They're in this confined space. They're having to spend time together. Both of them in some ways are changing, but the stakes are high. Then let's take the subplot of the wife of the guy who's been grabbed, and she is working mostly with a hostage negotiator, and we're seeing the beats of her life but here's the kicker on that. The hostage negotiator is her first husband, her ex-husband. So she's working closely with a man that in many ways she loathed and left. So she's having to work closely. They're both changing within the context of their relationship. It's a loathing and close relationship, but fraught with lots of angles and perils, exactly mirroring in some ways the dance that the hostage and the hostage taker are taking on the other end. That's mirroring plot. Another way to do it is to push back against plot. Let's say that the main plot is a love story, and we're following, and it's lovely and it's fabulous, but the subplot maybe is the sister of the main character, and she's going through a harrowing divorce. Again, the subplot's smaller, but perhaps that subplot is causing the sister who's getting married to question whether or not even this is the right thing for her, because it's her sister's life is so crazy and it used to be so beautiful. So that's pushing back. The other way is that the subplot can actually mess up in some ways, add intrigue, drama to the main plot. Say, again, the homicide detective, he's fallen in love in the subplot, and then it's an old trope, but by golly, it still works. It's still got some juice. He suddenly, to his horror, realizes that he's been set up, or believes in his heart that there's a possibility that he has, which is even better. And that in some way, his beloved could be involved in the murder of the person who was killed, or perhaps even responsible for it. So, have fun creating subplots. Those are some ways to use them, and I'll see you next week.